Welcome to Dear Baby Girl. This is where I share some of the things that I like to write about. So, as a journaler and as a deep thinker, one of the ways that I like to process information is to write about it. And so, this actually came from a conversation that I had with somebody that felt very strongly that we should all be very aware of all of the things that are going on across the world. And I tend to disagree with that. And so, because of that, I wanted to explore it for myself because that's what I really enjoy doing. That is part of what the examined life means to me, is when I hear something, especially somebody else's opinion or somebody else's take on something, I want to figure out if the way that I have been thinking about things still resonates with me or whether I need to reconsider and be open to somebody else's opinion, which I think we should all be doing that. So, this is an article that I wrote. It's called "Is Ignorance Bliss or Negligence?" And I have the image of somebody with their head buried in the sand, which is something that I always joke and say that I have my head securely fastened in the sand, and I like it. So here's my take on, is ignorance bliss or negligence? I have lived my life on a need to know basis when it comes to politics and world events. For most of my life, I had been embarrassed to be in a conversation with people on those subjects and would try to avoid it as best I could. I didn't want people to know that I didn't know. I would opt out of conversations and listen only if I somehow got stuck with someone who wanted to engage with me. A lot changed in 2020 when the world stopped and we were all forced to face a common enemy, COVID. I could no longer avoid the big conversations. They were everywhere. Precociously stepping out of my happy bubble that I had created over the years, the bubble was my means of self preservation and acted as my ignorance shield. I could stay happy, blissful even. The last few years have broadened my world vision even more through a couple of people who have shown up and become important to me, even if just for a short time. Typically, these people show up with very intense views, mostly opposing mine. For the most part, I would just listen, allow them to expose me to their ideas and where they got their information from. Then I could spend a bit of time doing my own research. Not only did I want to fact check them, but I also learned more about the subject so that I could form my own opinions and speak up from a place of information and not ignorance. I found it quite interesting and even started to enjoy it. However, what I found once I did form my opinion and speak to them, they didn't like it. I started to notice that they only wanted to share their opinions when I was listening and not challenging them. Now, this was interesting stuff. My interest changed from wanting to understand the subjects and instead about the psychology of people with strong opinions. I have recently befriended another of these very strongly opinionated people, and I find him extremely interesting. I enjoy our conversations, and he does listen to my opinions. However, he does not agree with my desire to be ignorant to the atrocities that are currently happening in the world. I consider myself to be pragmatic and therefore do not believe in information just for the sake of knowing. I feel the deep desire to act on the information, or as Tony Robbins says, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is only potential power. True power comes from the application, organization, and action taking with that knowledge. So for me, unless I can do something with the knowledge, it just causes anger, frustration, and then other negative emotions that now sit in my body and create dis-ease. My question then is, why do I need to know unless I intend to do something with the new knowledge and turn it into power and take action? Today, I was introduced to the Greek word euthymia, meaning a stable, normal, and tranquil mental state characterized by the absence of significant mood disturbances like depression or mania, often described as feeling okay or at ease, even amidst life's challenges. This is my new favorite word and perfectly describes how I have lived my life. I've never quite understood intentionally finding ways to cause dis-ease in my life. Now I have a word for it.